Let us begin. When I first joined the fellowship, this was the song that we sang at the beginning of each service, but now we're not able to sing at this time.
Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, whoever you're leaving, cause it's your caravan hour is coming, cause it's your caravan hour is leaving, cause it's your caravan hour is coming, cause it's your caravan
News and analysis, Facebook memes, and forwarded emails. As if the new zodiac capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring our way, as if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promises of making sense or turning out the way we'd thought, as if we are not also actors in this still unfolding story. For this hour we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it all already figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here in our song and our silence, our stories and our sharing, we make space for a new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root. That is courage forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith. That we believe still a new world is possible, that we are creating it already here and now. Come, let us worship together. For those of you who are new to our fellowship, Unitarian Universalists are a movement in the liberal tradition of the Enlightenment. We welcome all, no matter your journey, regardless of personal background, sexual orientation, nationality, race, or beliefs. Together, we gather to share this moment in time in a circle of hearts and souls, seeking the innate morality of being human. We seek to know each other and the world around us and build a loving and inclusive community. Welcome all. I'd like to invite a member of our COVID committee, we call it, Amy Betts will share with us what the committee is thinking these days.
So first off, I'm really delighted to be back here in person with all of you. I know it's been several weeks and I thank everybody for their patience. And I just want to let you know that the COVID advisory panel and the board has actually been doing a lot of work in this area. We took the time while we were away to really do measurements in the building, find out more about our ventilation, make improvements to our ventilation, and actually do a lot of modeling in terms of human behavior, dissipation of viral loads and how that's all impacted by the presence of COVID in our community. And and you'll get more information about this in the coming weeks, but one very important piece of information is the masks that we wear, and the masking behavior really does make a huge difference. And that's part of why we've asked everybody today to wear surgical masks are better. And when we say surgical masks are better, this means, right, KN95, N95, KF94, M95I. You'll see all of these different kinds of masks out there, right? They're very similar in how they work. They have different codes and standards for how they're tested behind them. But anything surgical mask or better, it really does help block a lot more of the aerosols. And so thank you very much. It's just amazing. There's so much compliance. Great job, everybody. I really do love it, right? When you can see that that kind of compliance is possible when people want to be together and want to kind of care for each other. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you to the COVID advisory panel. It's been a real feat for them. I'm just really pleased with all the work that you've done. We are back, like Amy said, like we can see. We've got plenty of people joining us on Zoom as well. For those of you here in person, you will have noticed our order of service. We have a new setup, so we've got a reusable cover now. So please give this back to us at the end of the service and we'll reuse it next week. Now, on the inside, there are lots of great announcements, lots of good information about events coming up in the next week. So I strongly encourage you to check these out and come spend some time with us this week. So this is the time in our service that we are beginning to set aside to acknowledge the history of the land upon which we gather. In particular, we're looking for ways to remember and redress the harm caused by the seizure of this land by people who did not respect the people and ecosystems that thrived here. This week, the need for this ritual takes on greater urgency as we witness the greed-fueled seizure of Ukraine by Russia with disrespect for the people and culture of that land. May we join together on the side of the oppressed, the invaded, across time and space. And may we hold fast to a vision of humanity that cooperates, respects beauty without controlling it, and honors the wisdom of ancestors. Amen.
While Pastor Isa lights the chalice, I'd like to read The Abundance of Our Lives Together by Katie Gelfand. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. Now, for the time for all ages, we'll share a video. Let It Be a Dance by Rick Maston.
Let it be a dance we do, May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. In case some of you kids don't know it, we'll do it one more time. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. And let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, fill the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. And let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. Time for joy, time to cry. So take it as it passes by, and let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. The morning star comes out at night. Without the dark, there could be no light. And if nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. So let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sun shine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. Round and round we go again. So let it be a dance, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance once more for the mountains. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance we do. Kid concert over. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Now, the young will follow Sandy Nelson. Now for the offertory, Renee will play the spinning song by Albert Elmenreich. This Sunday, we have Cindy Pitts here representing the Wonder Workshop, our Helping Hands recipient for the month of March. As always, you can place contributions in the basket at the back of the sanctuary or visit our website to donate. Remember, contributions not directed to a particular project will go to the Helping Hands recipient. Before I invite Cindy up here, I want everybody today to please share their joys and let us help carry your concerns. Use the paper slips on a seat near you and we'll collect them. If you're on Zoom, please use the chat. Cindy, you ready?
Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath here. I am not the dynamic speaker that my husband is. I'm gonna warn you right up front. Hi. But I seem to have, I guess, I'm 71. I seem to have the energy that he had because we're still, Wonder Workshop is going strong. Thanks to you all and the community. As you probably already know, we're dedicated to create interactive programs for kids and their families and exhibits. And let me just start with exhibits a little bit, because when Richard was alive, it's always been an organic place. And this new organic place is called Under the Sea. And we have a program of high school mentors. And this is kind of how it works, the organic way. We got a little stuck. Sylvia, who was really one of the originators of the team at Wonder Workshop, she came along and she throws out some ideas. And then she says, well, I'll meet with the mentors, because they were a little stuck. They had the ocean and then someone got sick and blah, blah. We got the ocean painted up, the layers of the ocean. And, and then Sylvia said, well, I'll meet with him. And then she met with Isis, who's the only one who could show up. Isis, Sylvia brought pictures of what she had done, and with recycled materials. We knew we wanted everything to be recycled, as will be our summer program on materials. And then Sylvia showed us some of her artwork, which inspired Isis, by the way. And then Isis couldn't wait to get back to Wonder Workshop. And then she sent this beautiful picture of the plastics that Sylvia had left and already had hung it up on the wall for the ocean. So she had made a fish that with materials that Sylvia had brought that will be part of the exhibit. So she was working yesterday making more fish with her two friends. And so it just kind of keeps, we know what we want, but what actually goes in is more organic, and someone else will come along that knows a lot about the ocean and have an idea as well. I also want to thank Dick. He's out there somewhere, I'm sure. We just struggled a bit. Our cars died after everything kind of went blah. And Dick, he stepped up and he made cards for us, membership cards, and he made stationery, things that I needed to write grants. So I appreciate everything everyone has done throughout the year for us. It has meant a lot. So let's get to the kids. All right, that's the best part. Somebody dropped off one of our programs is Discovery Days. Someone dropped off and left it at the back porch, some old construction paper that you really couldn't use. It was flimsy and faded. So we thought we'd make paper. And this is typical kids. So we put the construction paper out, because you have to rip it up, shred it up, put it in water. And so my daughter Perry she does the pre-K program, and she also leads Discovery Days. And so we were like, okay, the kids are like, and then Perry goes, well, hey, let's think of something what makes you really angry? And then let's just rip that paper up. And the kids are a hoot. And this is why I think it's so important kids need to play and be able to use their imagination. And these are kids K through 4. You blew out all my birthday candles. Another kid is like, you took my ticket to Chicago. And anyway, so they're like going like, and then Perry, she goes, well, let's think of things that make us happy. You came to my party. You bought me a new ticket to Chicago. And so they're doing all these happy thoughts that, like half of the kids haven't even been to Chicago. I'm surprised they heard about it. But anyway, so we got our paper made, and it's just I think a great example. If we leave kids to play and imagination in their own imagination, it helps kids solve problems. It helps them team up, I think, for future events. We see that with our mentors who most of them have been there since they were young kids. They're just quick and pliable. Let's see. Oh, one other thing, we have this little wooden wheelbarrow, and the kids were this kid was a kindergarten, no, first grader. And she says, hey, anybody want to go to Mexico? Let's go right now, it's leaving. And so the kids themselves formed a line to go to Mexico in the wheelbarrow, which, you know, she drops them off at the other side of the church. And then another kid comes up with tickets, which are rocks. So it's just fun to see all of that plan out. And it takes planning. It's not like kids have seen buying tickets, their parents buying tickets to things. It's just fun to see how the kids in lineup, they all get a rock, and they give the rock to Sienna to go to Mexico. So those are just a few examples of play and organic play and what happens. We do have a pre-K program. It's full. We are thinking about doing extending it. It's kind of a little hard to find staff right now, but it's always full. It's not as diverse as our discovery days, but we're trying. That's all I can say. I know daycare is a big issue, and our pre-K program it's free. We've managed to keep it free, and it's from 10 to 11:30, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our discovery days is when school's out. That's probably every discovery days in summer camp, we're 70% scholarships, which I just think equity is important. As a former teacher, you see how it plays out in your classroom. Like dance, for example, there's very few kids of color. There's just not a lot of diversity in dance. And when kids go to school, they have experiences that they share with probably other kids, which, I'm just saying in my experience, you see a lot of kids not being able to be with that group of kids that's in dance. There's no bridge. And I feel like at Wonder Workshop, we can help make those bridges happen a lot. When this is the first time I've said when Richard died. I mean, it's like coming easier and easier, but when Richard died, there were so many letters from parents who addressed that we were so thankful for the scholarships that made great programs equitable to everyone, for us and our children. And then letters from the kids as well, saying it was such a good experience that they could go to school and say, well, I went to the Wonder Workshop camp, and the other kid can say, I did too. The best part, I think, of all this is a few letters from the parents, who one father works at Civics Plus, and he said, I never understood equity, why it was important, until I took my kids to the rock formations in Minneapolis. And he said, well, Wonder Workshop had already taken him there for one, but I realized at that moment how important it was for everyone to be able to discover Kansas, the scholarship kids and my kids. So that's our discovery days. Is our second program. Our mentor program is the high school kids. We're really down to about 7 right now, but we have a lot of new kids coming in. They'll be coming in for the summer program to start, which is kind of about all we can handle right now. So that'll bring us up to 14, 15 kids, and they help, and they're great. This year we started with middle school kids. At 6th grade, you can be in middle school, and 6th graders are just kind of an unusual group of kids as to what to do with. They think they're grown up and they're not. And parents were always asking if they could come. Oh, am I doing something wrong? Am I over time?
It's so good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Oh, sure. Sorry. I didn't think I'd be able to even fill up the time. Okay, thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy. It's good to learn about the Wonder Workshop. For me, it's new to me. And I know it's good for everybody to hear an update. Thank you, Renee. What fun, playful music. Right after hearing about Wonder Workshop. Cool. We have a lot of joys coming in this morning and some sorrows. I'm trying to absorb them all and reflect them back out to you. So a lot of gratitude for Cindy coming and sharing about Wonder Workshop. Somebody in the chat, Anna shares, thankful that Cindy is keeping it going. And I believe this is from Larry, saying Wonder Workshop was basic to our son's development in so many ways. Have gratitude for the playful music from Kathy. And we have celebration of being in person again, being here optimally. This is from Chris. Being a part of this group is critical support for me. And we also have an anonymous. It is such a joy to be here in person with others. Thank you to the COVID Advisory Committee and the board. Mary Beth here in person shares a joy that my son Adam started a new job this past week in Denver. So congratulations to Adam. Let's see, we have from Sybil. I'm very grateful that Dave's sister Leslie will be visiting soon from California. She's visited regularly since Dave became sick, which has helped raise our spirits. This visit, she'll be helping plan a celebration for Dave's 70th birthday, and an invitation will be coming soon. Blessed are friends and family. So true. From Judy, Susan, Adamchuk, and I are so very thankful for all the items and money donated by UUs to the Afghan resettlement movement. We have settled 13 families, plus several more young singles. Many are now in permanent housing. They are getting along well considering the trauma they have been through. They are working especially on learning English and getting driver's licenses in preparation for getting jobs. Thanks again for your donations and good wishes. We're hearing from Dixie that she is doing quite well and at home today. So grateful for that. Grateful to her family too for keeping us in the loop of how we can be supportive. Judy shares again, we made it through fake patties with the minimum of bad things and lots of fun. Oh, and there was a nice article in the Mercury yesterday about Afghan resettlement. Tom shares very happy that today we are celebrating the birthday of Stacy's oldest daughter, Kat. Kat was born on February 29th. So based on the calendar, Kat is only 9 years old. So I believe that's all our joys. And if I missed your joy, let me know, and we'll find a way to celebrate. There are some concerns and some sorrows today too. So Karen shares a concern about HB 2056 being rushed through the Kansas legislature. It's a voter suppression bill, and we must raise awareness and oppose it. She encourages us to contact legislators, and I'd support that. That is an act of prayer, and that belongs here in our joys and sorrows, in our sorrows. Kathy shares, this is Kathy Hedge. I am sad to have lost a long time dear friend, Linda McClung. She thanks her dear friends and this fellowship for support over the past weeks. With you, Kathy. So let's take a few breaths to honor all these joys, honor these sorrows, and honor the other truths that we hold in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Close our meditation in gratitude to share this time with each other. We'll now have a video, a music performance, and I'll share a little bit more about it after we hear it.
Come travel, come, no matter how far, no matter the distance between who you are and who you want to be. You can lower your defenses. You belong here with me. You belong in the dance. You were not made for despair. You don't need to fear that the spirit of life hasn't guided you here to this hour, to this place. No debt to be paid, just grace upon grace to dance unafraid. You don't have to crawl for a year through the desert, repenting. You don't have to beg on bended knee. Tell me your fears, I'll share with you mine. Watch the wild geese flying over the sea. is only the beginning, the first line of a poem, the first step of a dance in the direction of home in all our brokenness. We want in the sun. This is what we were made for. This is where we belong to each other, belong in the call, benedicting these bodies and welcoming all. So don't be afraid, just reach out your hand and join us. Join in the dance. Join in the dance. Join in the dance.
You Belong in the Dance was written for my ordination by my friend Tom. He's the one singing and playing the flute. He himself is not much of a dancer. Technically, he didn't see fit to include a video of his own physical movement in the recording we just watched, but obviously he gets it. He tells us that the dance, however we may define it, is what we're made for. We belong in the dance. If we don't already feel like we're in the in crowd, he invites us to join in, to join the dance. And even though many of the feats of beauty shown in the video are not ones that all of our bodies can do, I'm drawn in by the joy and the fun. Dance is a demonstration of what humans are capable of. Not just athleticism, but the coordination with our own bodies, our muscles, bone, fascia, and gaze moving in concert. And the coordination between and among bodies, the current running around a circle of people holding hands, the shock of witnessing a group of movers starting and stopping in unison. Dance is for all bodies, for young, symmetrical, flexible, muscly bodies, for older bodies that have moved mountains and now know the power and dynamism of stillness, for bodies with illness, pain, or trauma, for bodies that are grieving, who are remembering loved ones, for bodies that use assistive devices like canes, wheelchairs, hearing aids, contact lenses, for elegantly dressed bodies, for bodies that take a while to wake up in the morning, for all bodies. All bodies dance if they want to claim it. The sensuous roll of the neck getting out of bed, the tapping of the foot when a favorite song comes on, the tip of a head to invite a response from a conversation partner. We all take space and move through space. We're all choreographers and parts of the chorus of others' choreographed pieces. In this same way, we're all musicians, marking time with our breath and tapping out rhythms with our spoken words. All of us got rhythm because all of us have hearts, says Shalewa McCall, a choreographer, poet, mother, and artist. Nick Garace, a queer Appalachian flat-footing dancer, calls musicians dancers who hold things, and understands that as a percussive dancer, he not only dances to music, but also makes music with his body. Poets dance with words, painters dance with color, engineers dance with equations, cooks dance with fire, farmers dance with dirt. You see what I'm getting at here? So if dance isn't your thing, I'm going to encourage you to translate this reflection, and I trust that you can. Dancing and watching dance, however you define it, is more than entertaining. It gives us a collective sense of empowerment. This collective empowerment, drawing on the work and words of dance scholars, Susan Lee Foster and Randy Martin, quote, evolves slowly over the creation of a new dance and involves a transfer of authority from choreographer to dancers as they collaborate on its making. This empowerment can then be conveyed to viewers as they watch the dancers realize their potential to act and their ability to work cohesively in performance. Dance is a palpable demonstration of mobilization, the process through which people collectively determine our own future and move decisively toward it. And this is where we get to Unitarian Universalism, because ours is a theology of mobilization. We come together to experience and share the sacred within these walls as part of our engagement with everything beyond these walls. We're here to dance with our values. The dance we value mobilizes us to enact our values in the larger world. I came across the work of dance scholars Foster and Martin in an article Foster called, "Why is there always energy for dancing?" As we launch our stewardship campaign this month, which means in plain English, our fundraising for our annual budget, I've been looking for wisdom to explain the abundance I feel is here in this community. Foster writes, not only is dancing something in which people most often willingly engage, I saw that you all got up and danced during that song, but it is also something that produces the energy to sustain itself as an activity. That is, dancing forges a kind of inexhaustible energy, an energy that far surpasses the amount of physical strength and endurance one would typically have to expend. Dancing fuels the body more than it exhausts it, thereby defying the logic of thermodynamics and even calling into question the use of metaphors such as fueling and exhausting. So this is what we need for our stewardship campaign. The goal is for you to share your finite financial resources in a way that makes your life richer, the way dancers sacrifice willingly of their energy and then go home glowing. But talking about money can trigger fears of not enoughness, reminders of mystifying economics classes where we came to understand scarcity as some sort of natural law and learned that the way to get ahead or even just survive is to win a competition. Now, I'm not at this time taking on the academic field of economics and disputing the laws of supply and demand, just as dance scholars don't tend to argue with physicists. But there's great scope for fundraising not premised on the notion of scarcity, but fed by a certainty of abundance. When we talk about our budget, we can understand it as not just a negotiation with the economy, but a set of intentions for our engagement with the larger ecology, that ecology in which humans and all other beings interact. The professional fundraiser Lynn Twist writes, "Abundance is a fact of nature. It is a fundamental law of nature that there is enough and it is finite. Its finiteness is no threat. Finiteness creates a more accurate relationship that commands respect, reverence, and managing those resources with the knowledge that they are precious." End quote. When we practice reverence for the interdependent web of creation and fully inform ourselves about the nature of our resources as part of our free and responsible search for truth and meaning, we cease to be limited by an understanding of economics as the allocation of scarce resources through the process of individual greed. Our budget becomes a moral document honoring our stewardship of our corner of the planet's abundance. The word abundance comes from Latin, as the prefix a, which is from, and then that's added on to unda or undare, meaning from a wave, from a surge. A beautiful image, isn't it? Waves of plenty, as if surging with the incoming tide. The ocean is massive, apparently limitless, but not actually limitless. This is what we want to tap into in our stewardship campaign, our waves of generosity spilling over from a full cup. Twist writes, "When people are able to align their money with their deepest, most soulful interests and commitments, their relationship with money becomes a place where profound and lasting transformation can occur. Their money, no matter what the amount, becomes the conduit for this change." She also writes, "Money is like water. It can be a conduit for commitment, a currency of love." And water, as we know, is not limitless, but it is abundant. It comes in waves, like the energy we get when we're in the flow with our dance, however we define dance. The dance scholar Foster tells us there is always energy for dancing because it is fun. Dance is rooted in play. And then in her article, she geeks out about fun and play. Fun is, quote, "a category of experience that defies logical interpretation. Play is fun, different from ordinary life, and both conscious and embodied, meaning it totally absorbs participants, while at the same time, they comprehend they are partaking of it. Play," Foster says, "derives from an exercise in imagination, and it is fundamentally a way of discovering the world and one's place in it. Play is an activity done for the pleasure and the mere joy of doing it. Yet it does perform a specific function, namely that of assimilating an action and its consequences into a child's world. It not only develops cognitive and motor skills, but it integrates them. Thus, play is of central value to human life and contributes unique value to that life. And play is clearly something we value as a fellowship. And I'm just reminded of that today with our long relationship with the Wonder Workshop. So I understand from all this research that play is an embodied experiential value that can't be extracted from the person or the people playing. It's not transactional, but it is relational, either among players or between players and the natural world. Dance, as a form of play, develops our cognitive and social skills, and also our identity in relation to the environment within which we're playing. When we dance with others, Foster says, we're forging an identity based in actions that are social rather than individual. In the dance, we learn to choose whether and how to move and how to ask for and give consent to move and be moved by others. This is valuable play. I titled this reflection, "The Dance of Value," as a prompt for thinking about what we value about the dance we do here at UUFM, how we value it, as in how we express our value of it, and hint, the answer is not just money, and how our dance itself expresses our values. I want to offer one possible answer for the first query. One thing that we value about dance is that it feels good. It gives us pleasure. I know it's a little awkward to talk about pleasure. It's almost as hard to preach about as money. We are descendants of the Puritans, culturally and theologically. And so we're conditioned to keep it a secret that we experience enjoyment in our bodies and not just our brains. To unlearn this, we offer our kids our whole lives sexuality training in our community, sexuality and life training. We validate pleasure as a part of the human experience, and we admit that pleasure, sexual and non-sexual, is a motivating value for humans. This commitment to being open, to talking and thinking and enjoying life, and being willing to talk about it more in our religious education. I think this is part of why Unitarian Universalism is known as a safer place for LGBTQ plus folks. So I mentioned a dancer earlier, Nick Garis. He identifies as a queer percussive dancer, and he recently wrote an article about how he's kept dancing despite the physical isolation of COVID. One of his students proposed that they aim their cameras at their feet and take turns dancing. Nick reflects, "We are animated by the other dancers' improvised music, which in turn reveals their relationship with the melody of the fiddle tune. We are titillated by their contact with the sound-making surface and enlivened by a fellow mover's effectual virtuosity, how we do or do not let the dance light us up. This pleasures us." It was like the Appalachian flatfoot competitions Nick used to win ribbons in as a kid, but without, quote, palpable performance anxiety, aggression among competitors, and a hierarchical calculus of winners and losers. Sharing improvisations through our screens opened up a queer space of pleasurable, extemporaneous possibility and allowed us to imagine outside of the contest format. So he calls it a queer space. I know that queerness is a confusing concept for some people. It's an identity claimed by people of my generation and younger, which is younger than many of the folks in our community. By way of defining queerness, Nick writes, queer folks set ourselves apart through imaginative, improvisational acts that prioritize pleasure. Basically, they play, risking, quote, disclosing our desires that might be off the beaten track, or adorning or de-adorning ourselves to innovate away from binary gender norms that hem us in, making spur of the moment decisions to seize the possibility of pleasure, diverting from the planned or the expected, end quote. In our society, queerness attracts attention and vitriol for its implications for sexuality, but it's really something much bigger. It's the refusal to bow to or internalize the pressure to compete in this heteronormative, cis-normative economy. In other words, queerness is refusing to play the role of a man or a woman expressing gender in the right way and partnering with someone expressing the opposite gender in the right way in order to create a normal household that reproduces the status quo. Now, in case you're wondering, Nick Garis says, though not everyone is trans, lesbian, or gay, maybe everybody can be queer. So listen up, that's an invitation. Come on into queer space. The circle is wide and spacious. Queer space and playing safely within it, like dance, creates energy instead of taking it away. We know this because queerness persists despite the immense social and economic costs faced by queer, lesbian, gay, transgender, non-binary, and two-spirit people. And the dance we're doing here as Unitarian Universalists is also generating energy. We know this because we persist, even in Kansas, where many of our legislators and neighbors seem intent on routing out truth and common sense. We persist because we love who we are, and we get immense pleasure from dancing together. But pleasure is just the tip of the iceberg. Dance scholar Foster asks, is it the pleasantness of fun, playful dance that continually renews bodily energy? Or is it perhaps the delight that comes from realizing one's capacities to coordinate with others? Delight, as contrasted with pleasure, emphasizes discovery and the possibility of creating the new and creating anew. Dance, in particular, offers the opportunity to discover new patterns of movement, new physical capacities, and new ways of coordinating and coming into relation. There's always energy for dancing because it is so delightful, end quote. We get pleasure from spending time together, and we get pleasure from spending money together as a fellowship. But Foster is telling us, go deeper. Delight isn't hedonistic. It's not based in greed. It's about pooling our energy, collaborating to create a new dance, a new world, a safe haven for people who need it, within which a new culture can germinate, where we mobilize to collectively determine our own future and move decisively toward it. Fundraising is sacred work. Lynn Twist tells us it offers a powerful and privileged opportunity to be in intimate conversation with another person about the nature of their highest values. And that's what we're doing this month. Over the next week, you have the opportunity to attend a small group conversation facilitated by a member of the fellowship. There are in-person options, there are Zoom options, and childcare is available. The link to sign up for it is in your order of service. It's in the newsletter, and you can also talk to our stewardship chair, Chris Bailey, who's right back there. I'm going to call you out. If we don't see you at one of those conversations, and we would love to, I think there's plenty of slots. If we don't see you, we will be giving you a call. It's said that Mother Teresa didn't fundraise, she just prayed. Well, we're doing the same thing. It's just that UU prayer sometimes looks like conversation. We're not shaking you down. We're reaching out to reinvigorate and remind each other of all our collective assets. Not only the money we need for the budget, but also our character and capabilities, our relationships, and other non-money resources. We're putting quarters in the jukebox and reminding you, you belong in the dance. So with that, I will invite everybody to rise in body or spirit. We're going to not sing a song together. It's just so lovely to hear those of you here in person, you're singing leaking out behind your masks. But I'm going to remind you that we're not singing here in the space right now based on the advice from our COVID advisory panel, but we will announce all right, if you can't hold it in, just keep your lips shut and hum along. And this is sort of a great song to practice that. This is My Life Flows On in Endless Song. So please rise in body or spirit, dance and hum and enjoy together.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, the far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth that liveth. What though the darkness round me flows, songs in the night it giveth. No storm could shake my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are ringing. Send friends for shame or undefiled, how can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
Thank you, Pastor Teresa. For the closing today, I'd like to read another poem. This is Sacred Paths. Rivers and streams follow their own courses, but the water molecules are indistinguishable. No one would confuse a candle flame for lava, yet in each the fire dances. An invisible force both knocks down trees and holds birds aloft. The air remains indifferent to its uses. Diamond, desert, Denali, and dirt each tell their different stories, all with the earth as protagonist. Whatever our sacred paths, whatever our beliefs and practices, however we gather in community, we all honor the spirit of life, the spirit of compassion, the spirit of justice, the spirit of love. How many stars are in the sky? All of them. Blessed be.